Hello, John Dilworth here. Let's animate. So, what are we looking at? We're looking at a way to survive art. And what else can we do? Especially for us artists, when faced with the just unacceptable changes of the world and our obedience. I don't know what's worse, but here Jim is suffering his own change. His world is changing, and let's not be afraid. The thing is, with Jim, it's a voluntary change. He's not being forced. He's doing it on his own with the prompting of love. So that's it. So I did this little cycle here. It's only half a second long, but it's kind of interesting the way it's only half a second. So I'm thinking, I don't want to waste a lot of time. Look at this beat. Look at this meter. It's got a little meter right in there, and it's only 3 drawings, and it's a decent cheat, I think, for myself, because I separated parts. They don't move. It's not one drawing. It's pieces of a drawing. And then I made 3 drawings, and I swapped them out so that I would get this nice little beat of the head. And we look at it again. You see, it's really nice. So what does he got to do? He's got to go into first stage. I got to get him up here. He's going to have a spasm. Bah! And that spasm's got to take him to the next thing. So we're seeing Jim's transformation. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do this transformation. But you got to take it a piece at a time. The way I designed it was so it would be in stages. But I want the stages to be fluid. So we're going to get to here. Now I did this first part rather tight because I could do it. It's rather contained. But now he's going to go up here. And then up here I'm going to have to give him another cycle. And I notice things are changing. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? So that's Jim there. I want to share the entire works space. I think that's what they call it, right? And I'm just going to say Jim and pop. Okay, so now I can do nope. Close that, please. I want to change these things. I'm just going to call this Jim 1, and then I can call this rough, because now I have to get rough. Now we have to get rough. Okay, so let me just go to, let's say, can I do red? Yeah. Well, if I do this, I gotta put that on, it turns red. So that's what I don't like about this software. I mean, because I prefer red. When I'm animating by hand, it's such a lovely thing. So I know that he's okay. So I'm just gonna take him rough. So he's coming up here. I'm gonna try to keep all his pieces in consistent. And here's a nice bit of the shoe. I'm going to try to get that because I love getting dimension. And that's that. But change. Let's not be afraid of change. And I'm reminded of the Greeks, ancient Greeks, and all the stories of gods and mortals changing, turning into bulls or swans or trees. I remember I was reading this one bit where a mortal was changed, and forgive me if I get it wrong, but a love object, let's say a lover, was turned into a tree, and the pursuer was able to put his hand on the tree's bark and feel feel the heartbeat of the woman is love. And how beautiful that is, just to conceptualize. And I was reminded again also of how life is change. I mean, in all possible ways. This is not poetry now. You see it all the time. Change, we change. We're not the same people we were. Just look at a photograph from a year or two ago. Right? That's change. How can you explain that? You just accept it, right? And you rejoice. Change. What about the ultimate? And from where do we return? So Jim, in a way, he's not, well, not in a way, he's not even thinking about it. He's not thinking of his own finality. Because this is an act of love, and love is life for us humans. That's our great gift to the world. So says Dilly, the animator. But I have to, yeah, here's a little moment of, here's another tangent, that when I'm able to do these videos with you, you inspire me. And I thank you all for spending a little time with me watching these things. I really do want to offer something more. I guess that's always been my let's keep it in the Greek, Achilles' heel, to be of some use, some greater use. And so if I share any of this, of my process, and it's a benefit to you, you are helping me. You are giving back, and I thank you. So I'm not really, it's tough. Yeah, I'm just sketching this out. I'm not committing anything, but of course I like things. Maybe sometimes it's good to, oh, and you notice I brought over the grid from an earlier scene. This is now 124. So Jim's shoulder comes up here, and using the previous drawing as a guide, because I want to keep, so there's the elbow on the floor, so this hand is going to go there. The other one, I guess he let go of his throat. The shirt I'm not going to worry about. The shirt is secondary action, and always much more craftily employed after your principal animation is satisfactory. Always, like hair, anything that's fluid, that can be fluid, tails, that type of thing. But here I want to make sure I get his shoulder underneath and his hand comes out, and it's a fist, right? So let's get the fist. These little things, I think this line here is too big, but magic computer, right? We can just move the line. I'm becoming automated. Stay automated, right? Okay, so I'm going to build this hand just through geometry, because I trust geometry more than my own memory, because I'm just building a hand from memory. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, and then that's his sleeve. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so I believe that the real fun would be going from here to here. How do I, managing this? And of course, we'll put in the little dilly product placement for the Dill Corporation. As you know, supplied all the props in nowhere. And here they're supplying Jim's shoes. Okay, here's his head. Now the thing about the head, let's just get the shirt. So he's pressing his head into the floor, and that's all I'm going to do for the head. That's it. Even this line here is too long. I feel too wide, but I like the elbow. Elbow's carrying the brunt of the weight. So maybe like that, and then right. So we can tuck him in. It'll be his stomach. I can tuck that in. Having a good sense of anatomy, if you're drawing for anatomy, for the illusion of anatomy, is vital. Otherwise, it's a cartoon. You know, you do cartooning. Do what you do. Do the best you do. And the most beautiful animation I've seen is the stuff that's not bound by the laws of anatomy, but has its own intrinsic beauty that can only be experienced once it's revealed. We can talk about it and all this jazz, but it's just talk. We have to see it and feel it. Now, I'm trying to foreshorten this shoe, but I need another try at it. And all of this kind of reevaluation of line and form comes over time. It just, unless you just happen to be a master draftsman. So I think I'm going to do that. So let's do this in between. I'm going to move this over here and then black that out. Oopsies! I want to cut this and put it up here. Yeah. So lock that off. I always make these errors and then I lament later. All right, so pop, let's do in between. So I know, okay, I've often spoken of how Richard Williams, a master that he is, preferred in-betweening masters. Like he would employ the gods of animation during his time, specifically Grim Natwick or Ken Harris, for instance. And he would be their in-betweener. And, you know, he made up all these theories of that in-betweening is really the animation part. You know, stealing the thunder from the gods. He's Prometheus. That's interesting. I didn't thought about that until I just thought about it. Okay, so how does he get up there? How does he get up? And I'm thinking of an S, right? Let's think about an S. Let's say he presses his head down onto the floor, right? And his chest goes down, but his pelvis goes up. Why not? We can do that. That could be kind of fun. Let me just see this. Yeah, isn't that well, that's different. And just so he's got like a little snaky thing. So let's say this is, where's his bot? Is that, we just never know with these things. So let's say that's, right, and lines are easy to take away. Now, I'm foreshortening this, only because of the graphic pleasure. It's not really, you wouldn't see this, his buttocks line would be further away, but I don't want that. And then, let's see, let's move this over and put in another in between. And pop goes the weasel, right? And then, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move his head further down, sliding across the floor. And this part of him will go up. Let's put his stomach, let's put his ass, right? And oh! And there's the break. So that's a good time to break. Until next time, stay animated.